Hello, hello, and welcome to day one of our 4-day thyroid and hormone reset virtual workshop. I am so excited to be here with you today. For those of you that I have not yet, my name is Amanda Hinman. I am your host and functional medicine hormone expert. I am super passionate about helping women to feel empowered and feel in control of their health. If you're tired of the brain fog and the energy leaks and the weight gain, then you are definitely in the right place because for these next 4 days, we're going to help you to radically shift and transform what you believe is possible for your body because you're going to understand your body in a new and exciting way and leave feeling jazzed and ready to start to bring your health to a whole new level, right? So this is all about breaking things down into a simple process to give you clarity and really run that with what's happening in the world. Utilize technology so that you can go from information overload to hormone alignment. Like I said, for those of you I have not yet met, my name is Amanda Hinman. I am the founder of the Thyroid Hormone Solution program, where I help women over 40 to predictably increase their energy, eliminate brain fog, supercharge their metabolism and their energy. So I just want to take a moment to introduce myself, but let's dive in as I screen share here and get into our training today. Give me a thumbs up if you see, yes, okay, we're on the right path. We're on the right path, ready to go for our, like I said, our 4-day virtual workshop to help you go from information overload to hormone alignment so that you can feel empowered and really clear of what's going on in your body. So if you're just joining us again, we're going to be talking about some really simple shifts that you can make this week to supercharge your health. But you know what? I just realized I didn't put into the chat yet. Give me a moment here. I'm popping into the chat the workbook for our session this week. So you can definitely check that out and get going. But let's get going. So when we think about how to increase our energy, how to feel better in our bodies, it's not about in more information or quick fixes. The average adult right now is making 35,000 decisions per day and is usually in a lot of overwhelm. Like this alone, when you think about your health decisions, thinking about what to eat, when to exercise, which supplement to take. That is exhausting and overwhelming. And that is what stalls people in feeling stuck in the cycle of not being able to move the needle and change your health. And research now shows that 80% of women dieters regain the weight that they lost within 2 years. It's not because they're lazy. It's not because you're undisciplined. It's because diets and quick fix solutions never actually address the root cause of why your body started to hold on to that weight to begin with. So we're done with that. This week, we're going to be talking about how to get to a streamlined, simple process to help you create real, tangible change in your health. Because when your body and your hormones are out of balance, your work, your energy, all areas of your life, including relationships, are going to suffer just because you don't feel like the best version of you, right? So again, just a little bit of background information. People with reported higher life satisfaction expend 26% more energy every single day, meaning their bodies can handle more, they can recover faster, they stay mentally sharp. And this is why doing what we're doing, showing up this week, is going to give you that edge, give you that advantage to feel better in every single area of your life. More energy equals more health, literally. And we also know that metabolic dysfunction leads to 2 to 4 times more missed days of work and lost productivity, right? So when we talk about optimizing your thyroid, your adrenal, your sex hormone health, this is going to boost your cellular energy. It's giving you vitality so that you can lead, you can create, you can live your life with the most enjoyment, the most fun and ease and, sense of satisfaction. So your metabolism, it's not just about your weight. It goes so much deeper than that. It's about your overall health and vitality and the quality of your life. So the first thing that we want to do, we're going to be diving into what are the strategies and the power moves. But first we need to figure out like what has been getting in the way. What has held you back from actually realizing changes and improvements in your health? So I want you to think about what I often call why bother syndrome. And see, again, no judgment. This is not about self-blame or criticism. This is about recognizing if you could be experiencing some of this why bother syndrome. It's very, very common with all of the hundreds of women that I've worked with. So these are, again, some ideas that you can start to look for and say, do I have any of these big three triggers? They're really big three areas that we look at. When it comes to feeling of why bother, first and foremost, you may be thinking to yourself, like, I've tried this before with my health and it just doesn't work, right? So maybe that looks like I've tried to work with a health professional. I've tried to even follow a weight loss program before, and it didn't create the results that I wanted. Or maybe you worked with a functional medicine doctor or a naturopathic doctor who ran a bunch of fancy labs, but you still didn't feel that much better 2 months later. Nothing really changed in your body. Maybe it was a nutritionist that you hired and she recommended an elimination diet to cut out gluten, cut out dairy, cut out eggs, cut out, sugars, cut out alcohol, cut out all these things. And even if you followed that really strict regimen, you didn't see the results, or maybe it was just too overwhelming. It wasn't sustainable, right? You've been in that place. Maybe you worked with a chiropractor who gave you a list of supplements that were supposed to make you feel better, help support your hormones, help shift your metabolism, or a program or a friend that had amazing results, but you're like, it just hasn't worked for me. So can anyone say that they can recognize, like, oh my gosh, yeah, I've had some of these symptoms of why bother syndrome? If so, it's just like you're in the right place. Or maybe you can think of what I think of the second falls under investment traumas. Like, these are things that we've actually had happen to us. Maybe we've invested both your time and your energy into a health solution that you thought was going to work for you, but there was no return. You still don't feel good in your body. You still have that energy slump in the afternoon. You still are dragging yourself out of bed in the morning because you don't feel refreshed and ready to go. Maybe you've hired someone and they didn't provide you what your body needed, or it didn't fit your life. It wasn't realistic. It wasn't something you could actually get some momentum around. Or the protocols or the recommendations were simply too overwhelming. They were not sustainable, something that was not feasible for you and for your life and for your body. And then we have the final category, those micro hits, right? This looks like a whole bunch of little things. Maybe it wasn't one specific practitioner that you worked with or one specific solution and supplement that you've tried, right? Maybe it was just for a long period of time you haven't seen these results. You've tried a handful of things. You've tried to make changes with your, eating Whole30. You've tried to make changes with your exercise routine, and you just can't get that needle to move permanently. Maybe you're taking the action, you're following the strategies, and you keep finding more and more things that are wrong with your body. That can be really discouraging. Maybe you've been in this place where it seems like it's a never-ending rabbit hole of what's going on with your health, and that feels really, really frustrating. I want you to know, first of all, if you're feeling any of these things, you are not alone. And almost every single woman that I've worked with and supported has been in this place too, right? When we talk about why bother, it's like, oh my gosh, of course, it's almost, I don't know, it's almost like I don't want to get my hopes up again, right? I don't want to be disappointed. So maybe you worry that things won't change for the long term when it comes to your health. You think about, like, I want to have more energy, and sometimes I procrastinate or avoid things that I know would be good for me because I've tried them before and they just haven't sustainably worked. Or maybe it's even in the sense of I compare myself with others. I know I've definitely fallen into that comparison trap. I worry about what's going on in the future. I feel that I never have enough time to prioritize my health. I mean, this was definitely me. Absolutely. I lived with a dysfunctional relationship with time, right? I always thought I never have enough. I never have enough. I can't get the things that would be helpful for me to fit on my calendar, to fit into my life. Maybe you thought about just hesitating, investing in support, or having the mentorship, having the education, having the accountability to really finally move the needle in your health, right? This is like, again, no blame. It's just we get to see it. We get to recognize it. And I'm going to put this link into the chat one more time because I know people keep coming in. Join us. Welcome. This is the workbook link. I just put it into the chat so that you can have these workbook pages to follow along with us. because we're talking about first and foremost, it's about creating awareness of what has gotten in the way of you really being able to catapult your health to that next level, to really move the needle. So when we think about, like I said, these micro hits, it could be a matter of the investment traumas. It could be a matter of just like, it doesn't work for me, for my body. I've tried these things before. If you have experienced any of these symptoms of why bother syndrome, I say congratulations on seeing it, right? We cannot change what we do not have awareness of. So already by you being here, by you even saying like, oh yeah, you know what, I've had that experience, or yeah, I can relate to that, or that this resonates with me, then you've already taken a step forward today just because you have built that awareness. We're going to be talking about the 4 A's of change this week, Monday through Thursday. We're going to be talking about these are the 4 A's that actually create change for you. And the first one is awareness. We cannot change what we are unaware of. So today is going to be a lot of building awareness internally of like where we've held ourselves back, or some of them perhaps the why bother syndrome perspectives and beliefs that crop up and that come, they're totally justified, by the way, because you have evidence to come to that conclusion. No one's saying that's wrong or it doesn't make complete sense. It's completely rational, it's completely justified. But what we are going to do this week together is step through that. We're going to, like I said, day one today is about building awareness. Every single day, we're going to be creating more acceptance of where we are and what's going on in our body, because we're going to understand our body in new ways. And then we're going to be building a new normal. This is like what I call it, our alter ego version of us. Like, who do we get to step into? When we think about where we're going and the health that you ultimately want, how you want to feel sexy and confident in your body, you want to have that energy and that like zest for life. We're going to be building this into this whole transformation this week. And day 3, what is that new action? What is that new focus that's going to carry the momentum forward? And really going into, like I said, changing your hormone balance, changing how your body functions at a deep, deep level, getting to the root cause. So as we progress, here's what I want you to know. If you are over 40, if you're dealing with frustrating health symptoms, things like weight gain, insomnia, mood swings, fatigue, headaches, just moodiness, if you are experiencing any of these things, like, you are in the right place. If you're feeling uncertain about what the heck is going on in my body, except for I just know something is off. I know perhaps I know my hormones are off. I know that I just don't feel good. I don't feel like myself. The things maybe that used to work no longer are getting the same results. They're not happening. Like I can't tell you, Corey says to me all the time, like, I used to be able to kind of dial in my food, cut back the alcohol, and start to get my daily walks in, and then I could shed those 5 pounds. Now I've been doing those for 3 years, and it's like I keep going up. The scale is inching up, even when I'm doing these healthier choices. So I don't know what to do now, right? If maybe you think I simply haven't had the time to create new healthy habits and to balance your hormones naturally so that you can have that extra energy, so that you can have that boost in your metabolism. First of all, you're in the right place. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Like I said, my name is Amanda Hinman. I am here to help you. And my goal this week is to help you understand how hormones work in your body and give you some simple, proven steps. Like I said, I've worked with hundreds of women to predictably create this change, this transformation, this, like, what I call health up level in a new normal, so that you can identify simple actions that you can take to sleep deeply and wake up feeling refreshed, to feel sexy and confident and attractive in clothes because you feel good in your body. You feel light, you feel strong, you feel, I don't know, just confident, to experience freedom from addictive cravings, right? Sometimes we have this like love-hate relationship with food where it feels like it almost controls us, or we think about it. It's in our mental headspace way more than it should be. And have confidence because you know that you are supporting your hormone health for the long term. Like, your body is in a good place, so that long-term health is really in a great place. And like I said, for those of you that we have not met yet, my name is Amanda Hinman, and I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's thyroiditis many, many years ago. I was always exhausted and anxious, My hair was thinning. I had embarrassing acne all over my chin. But the interesting thing is my diagnosis came as a complete shock because at that time I took a lot of great pride. I self-identified as somebody who I thought was very healthy, quote unquote, doing all the right things. I was teaching cardio kickbox classes. I was eating salads and smoothies and like sweating, pouring sweat every single day. Or so I thought. So I thought I was doing all the things that I had learned and I thought modeled good health. So then I was like, what the heck? How in the world can I be diagnosed with this autoimmune condition, right? And I was told that I would have to take medication for the rest of my life. And once you have one autoimmune, you're likely to have additional diagnosis. And then things got worse. My worst nightmare happened as a mom. I have four daughters, and my oldest daughter, when she was 8 years old, developed seizures. She had always had a highly sensitive, anxious personality and just kind of demeanor. And her anxiety got so extreme. She was to the point where she was having between, I don't know, 10 to 15 seizures in a day sometimes. And I was completely hopeless. I mean, talk about as a parent, there's nothing that feels more devastating than to feel like you cannot help your child when they're struggling physically. I mean, her body was just completely shut down when she would have these episodes of multiple seizures in a row. And she was taking, you know, 12 different pills as a day, four different benzodiazepine medications just to try and make it through a 12 or 24-hour period without having another seizure. And I knew that there had to be more to the story because when we were working with these amazing pediatric neurologists down at Lurie Children's Hospital, an amazing, great, exceptional practitioners. I have nothing but respect for them. But I also learned to recognize the limitations with which the way that they approach health is a very like control and manage model of health. Conventional healthcare is like, let's diagnose what is the symptom and how do we manage the symptoms. So the management process was, we don't know what was the origination, what was the root cause. We just know that sometimes these things are genetic in the nervous system and we can manage it through medication. She was taking, like I said, 12 different pills as an 8-year-old. She was my like zoned out zombie of a child. She went from being sharp and witty and really intelligent and charismatic to like almost like monotone, drugged out because that was what the medication was doing to stabilize her emotional mental state. And I knew that there had to be more to the story of why she developed seizures than just it's genetic. These things happen. I knew there was a root cause we were missing. That's when I went back to study and really dove deep into understanding the interconnectedness of our body systems, how the nervous system, how the hormone endocrine system, and the digestive system and the immune system, how they all work together, and helped my daughter to heal. In 9 months' time, she weaned off of all the medication, has been seizure-free ever since. Now she's, a junior in college. I healed my autoimmune and put it into like essentially remission, have been medication-free for over 12 years, and became a women's hormone health expert. My specialty is helping women to maximize your health by breaking down complex concepts and bringing a clear solution. So I've designed this proven roadmap to naturally balancing your hormones. And all you have to do is follow along this week. We're going to be going kind of step by step through how that process happens. Like I said, I'm a certified applied functional medicine health coach, and I've studied over 100 different dietary theories. I founded a wellness company called Hinman Holistic Health, and now I've supported hundreds of women to feel back in control of their bodies, to understand what they need to do to really get to the root cause and help support their health goals, right? Whether it's healing from Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism or anxiety or insulin resistance or polycystic ovarian syndrome or hypertension and more. It's just really what's your unique situation and what does your body need in order to find that balance. So for me, it's very personal. After my own family's health transformation and my journey, I've learned a lot, and I know it's possible to create a really big shift in the way you feel. And this is the process. This is what I do with my private clients. We work together for a period of 5 months. Each month we go through these steps, one step at a time, and really help you get to this sustainable way of supporting your balance, your hormone balance and vitality. So we're going to be talking about these steps. Obviously, I cannot go into full detail that I do with my clients over a 5-month period of time, but we're going to be talking about the most critical needle movers for you in these next 4 days together to get that momentum, to create the shift and to help you. You're going to walk away and I guarantee you're going to learn some new insights and have clarity that will help you up level your health. So, like I said, this is just a little bit of, again, some examples. There's a whole host of different women who come to me with a different starting point. Dr. Kim came to me when she was just feeling very overwhelmed and anxious. She's like, I have never had so much anxiety in my life. And I know that it's affecting my food choices. I know that it's affecting how I show up for my kids. She's a mom of 3, busy chiropractic office. And she's like, I logically know a lot of these things, but I'm not able to execute and put this into practice. So in a way that works for my life, for my body and for my family and for my health. So working together again, taking a simple step-by-step approach helped her to drop the, extra pounds that she didn't want because she really kind of cleaned up and streamlined how she was supporting her body's metabolism with simple strategies around nutrition, simple strategies around getting her body out of fight or flight, which we're going to be talking about, and really eliminated her anxiety. She's like, I have a system and I have clarity and I have a game plan, which gives me confidence, and the anxiety is gone, right? Or Mary, who came to me, she was really struggling with insulin resistance and pre-diabetic, and she had had tons of decades of self-doubt. She's like, this is the way my life has always been. I've always been overweight. My family has a history of diabetes, so I knew that that was coming. So she really thought she was kind of like stuck in this path. And she was able to see, like, again, it's possible for me to change my metabolism, to really know that it can be reset no matter how old I am, no matter where I'm starting from, and changing my mindset about what's possible for my weight. I mean, she was able to release over 20 pounds, overcame insulin resistance, and became a new version of herself, right? So if you haven't yet followed me on Instagram, I definitely encourage you to do that. I always am sharing just inspirational, like short little sweet nuggets and pearls that you can take to kind of get on that journey. So a daily dose of hormone health videos. You can follow me at Hinman Amanda as well. And today we're going to be talking about the root cause. Like I said, how do we get to understanding what is really at the core of your metabolism, your energy levels, your weight, your moods? Everything is driven by our metabolism. Metabolism is essentially how well every single cell in the body can function and can do its job, the job it's designed to do. So the root cause, we're going to bring it back to the nervous system. And you'll see this theme come up routinely throughout this week. But your nervous system is what is signaling to every single cell in the body. And this is what helps you to manage stress. Now, think of it very simplistically. We're going to divide it into the 2 phases. Sympathetic side of the nervous system is what regulates the fight or flight response. It kind of prepares your body to engage and to flee or to fight and to be like ready for battle. Think of it like that. And then we have the parasympathetic part of the nervous system, or activation of it. And that's when the body is like, okay, we're kind of kicking back. Like I think of it as like our body's on the lazy chair, like kicking back, legs up. It's time to rest. It's time to heal. It's time to digest. And this is where a very important part of the systems in the body to have this balance. We need both sides of the nervous system to be activated appropriately. What happens for most chronic metabolism, low energy, mood problems is that there is an imbalance happening, either over sympathetic dominance or over parasympathetic, when we're kind of stuck in that down-regulated process. So when we think about how this affects our hormones, your symptoms give you clues. And especially your top 6 metabolic hormones. We're going to be talking about thyroid today. We're going to be talking about adrenals, cortisol. We're going to be talking about estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and insulin, because they're all related. Nothing is in isolation. But this is a beautiful picture because I think it shows the hierarchy of how hormones are affected in our body. The first thing at the very top you'll notice is the hypothalamus, and that's located in the brain. This is, again, tissue that responds to our nervous system and our immune system. It really is how you are interpreting your world. It's the thoughts, the beliefs, and the perceptions that give meaning to everything in your world. Whether it's a conversation you had with your husband or your spouse this morning before leaving the house today or before kind of starting your day, or whether it is a situation that you witnessed on the news, right? What we think about that, what meaning we give to it, what we believe about situations, that is going to then signal to all of the rest of this cascade. Our pituitary, which is in charge of balancing the environment, the internal environment inside the body, right? It's going to send signals about how to keep our temperature regulated, how to keep our heart rate going, how to signal to the adrenals or not, like, oh wow, this is not a good situation. We need to be on fight or flight mode and be prepared for battle. Or hey, everything's a-okay. We've got what we need. Yeah, we can kind of kick back in the lazy chair and rest and digest and heal. It's going to then signal to the thyroid gland, which is the regulator of metabolism. How do we manage our energy reserve? How do we kind of crank up our focus and our mental sharpness? And then eventually goes down to the reproductive tissues, right? That for us, for women, it's the ovaries, and it helps to regulate our estrogen and progesterone. But you'll notice at the top, I've showed this hierarchy on purpose because what's at the very, very top driving this cascade of signaling? It's our hypothalamus, which is essentially how we are interpreting our thoughts, our beliefs, and our circumstances, the meanings that we give. So this quote by Charles Swindoll at the bottom says, life is about 10% of what happens to you and about 90% of how you react to it. Because again, how you react to it is based on your thoughts, your beliefs, your perceptions, the meaning that you give to life or to circumstances. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about, again, we touched on the identify the root cause, and we're going to be coming back to the nervous system and coming back to some of our thoughts and our beliefs. We did a little bit of it early on, kind of assessing that why bother syndrome of like, ooh, am I kind of falling into some of these categories? If I am, I want to build awareness so that I can notice it and know what to shift, right? Then we're going to be talking about replenishing nutrients, because every single cell, and we have over 1 billion cells in the body, is nutrient dependent. It needs nutrients in order for it to have the ability to do the job that it was designed to do. So it's like kind of like putting gas in the car. We wouldn't expect our car to drive us to California if there's no gas in the tank, right? We need to have nutrients in the cells in order for the cells to work and do the job. And we're going to be talking about why those nutrients are so important. So let's bring in a little bit of the hormone education here. When we think about different hormones and kind of the cascade of how hormones are synthesized and how they work in the body. Well, at the very top of this little pyramid here, you'll notice that it has thyroid hormone. That is, there's thyroid T4 and T3, two different types of hormone. T3 is the more bioavailable for the cells to utilize to increase our metabolism. And then we have cholesterol. That's a substance that's created by the liver internally to the body. Vitamins over here, vitamin A, several different B vitamins. Now you'll notice that it's a combination of all of these 4 things at the top, and actually more than 4 because it's several different types of B vitamins that are needed together in order for the body's organs to be able to even create enough of these downstream hormones, right? Pregnenolone is kind of that precursor hormone to all the other steroid hormones, whether it be progesterone or cortisol or DHEA, testosterone and estrogen. And the reason I share this is because oftentimes like women will say to me, like, I just have elevated cholesterol. And I don't know, like it runs in my family and this and that. And yes, that can be very common. But I also wonder if they've even thought about, do they have adequate levels of vitamin A and several different B vitamins and thyroid hormone to be matching up with that cholesterol to be able to synthesize and produce any of these downstream hormones. A lot of times cholesterol can kind of pile up because we don't have enough of these other things to use it effectively to be able to make these other hormones. Testosterone, I can't tell you how many women over 40 have really low levels of testosterone, partly because they don't have adequate nutrients that are needed to be able to maintain those levels. And why do I care about testosterone as a female? Well, I want to be able to have focus, a little bit of, energy and drive and zest for life. Also strength, maintain that strength in my body, right? We need to have testosterone to do that. What about cortisol? So we're going to be talking about some of these things, and especially the role that the liver plays in affecting thyroid health and hormone health overall. So let's talk a little bit about the liver. The liver is that's an organ that's really, really important for hormone health. It has a lot of different things that it can do, and it does in the body. It filters our blood. It helps to detoxify things like chemicals, like drugs and toxins that come into the body. It makes a substance, a liquid called bile, that helps to um, cleanse the digestive tract. Bile is actually very antimicrobial, so it helps to cleanse the digestive tract from different viruses and bacteria and things that could cause other problems. It regulates the supply and the production of glucose and glycogen, our energy stores. It helps regulate metabolism by converting T4 into that active form of T3 that the cells need. And it regulates the production and the storage of fat. So the liver has a lot of different roles. It also regulates the balance of sex hormones and thyroid hormones and adrenal hormones. It produces and regulates cholesterol, and it detoxifies some of the toxins coming from our different hormones. So again, I'm giving an overview. I do not expect you to know this and memorize this, but really the takeaway is, wow, my liver is so important. Every single day, my liver has a ton of jobs that it needs to do. All of those liver cells need oxygen and they need nutrients in order to do all of these jobs, right? In order for that car to go to California, it needs gas in the car. In order for the liver and the cells of the liver to do all of these important hormone functions, they need oxygen and nutrients. So when we think about food, food is literally information. It supplies the vitamins, the minerals, the proteins, the fats, the carbohydrates, the enzymes, the phytonutrients that our cells need. And if we're eating foods that are highly processed, chemicalized foods, it's going to have a lot less of the useful components and a lot more of things that increase the toxic burden, that cause more inflammation and really create a problem and confusion for the cells, right? So what we choose 90% of the time matters with our food. Now, the normal experience for women is that over 200 million people worldwide struggle with suboptimal thyroid function. And women are 5 to 10 times more likely to struggle than men. But over half of these people are either undiagnosed or treated ineffectively. So they don't know that suboptimal thyroid function is actually happening in their bodies. Because almost every medication out there fails to address the underlying root problem. Even if you know that there may be a thyroid issue and you're given, like I was, thyroid medication, it doesn't actually address the problem, the root of the problem, which is successfully getting activated T3 to your cells to increase your metabolism where it's needed, right? We need to have strong liver function in order for that to take place. Remember, we said the liver is where T4 is converted into T3 most substantially. It needs those nutrients to do that work. So even if I just take a pill, medication that gives me some more thyroid hormone, it doesn't actually get to the root of helping the liver to do all of those jobs more successfully. Why are we so talking about thyroid? Why does the thyroid matter? Well, thyroid health plays a really important role in your metabolism and your ability to lose weight, which is what many women desire. But even more important than that is it regulates the amount of energy that every single cell in your body can produce, including two of your most important areas, your organs, your brain and your heart. So every single cell in the brain, every single cell in the heart, the metabolism of those, the ability of them to be able to generate energy and to do their job well, depends on how effective your thyroid function is happening, right? When we have poor cellular function within these different cells in the body, that creates situations that promotes and perpetuates a lot of different disease processes like cancer and inflammatory diseases and autoimmunity. and more, right? So again, just knowing that this is all linked to essentially how well can our cells use energy. That's metabolism. And thyroid is a big part of that. So in order to optimize our metabolism so that you can have more energy, so that you can balance your mood, experience good sleep, restorative sleep, release weight, expand your impact, experience greater wealth in life, in your relationships, in your joy, in your impact, in your career, your liver must receive a steady supply of nutrients every single day. Because guess what? We don't keep an extra pantry supply of vitamins and proteins and minerals in our left butt cheek. They don't just hang out over there. Like we have to actually take them in every single day. So maybe you're thinking like, I've tried these things before. I've tried Weight Watchers, right? I've tried the 21-day fixes or keto diet or intermittent fasting. If you have, I want you to know that it's not your fault if they failed. You are not alone. Because like I said, statistics show that 80% of women who lose weight and do these things, they gain it back within a year or two. Because these things were not designed to fix the actual problem. They're just a symptom of the problem. The nervous system, going back to the nervous system, is the root cause, right? This is what regulates that fight or flight response and that rest and digest and repair function. When our nervous system becomes dysregulated, you lose control. You literally you can't help but make unhealthy choices because you don't have the capacity and the bandwidth to think rationally, to think long term, to think in your best interest for the future. And this leads to hormone and metabolic problems. This is when we do binge eating, we're grabbing things for convenience and speed. We're going to bed late because we're just trying to get one more thing done or unwind. I just need to like disconnect. At the end of the day, I'm so exhausted and overwhelmed. So I just need to disconnect and like veg out on Netflix. Or I'm skipping meals. I'm not eating breakfast because I have too many things on my mind, too many things that I need to get done today. These are all signs and symptoms of dysregulation of nervous system. And we get into this loop of hormone, mood, and gut problems. Or maybe we're going to start a new diet or start a new workout routine, right? We have the best of intentions. Then life happens and gets busy. Your nervous system becomes dysregulated, so you can't even help but lose control. So you make some other unhealthy choices. Then you feel guilty and shame about it. And that kind of perpetuates this whole loop, right? So what is the actual root cause that we're talking about here? It's a dysregulated nervous system, or another way of saying it, a really low range of capacity. In other words, life can only be happening in a certain way for when everything's a-okay, and then you can make healthy choices. Then you have a good routine and a good system. But as soon as something outside of that very narrow parameter happens and life throws you a curveball, you don't necessarily have the bandwidth or the capacity to get right back on track, right? So what we're talking about here is how do we expand our nervous system capacity to handle more curveballs and to still be able to make conscious choices or have simple, clear systems that are going to make it easier and more organized and streamlined for us to be healthy. This happened to Donna Marie. She tried 40 different diets at different seasons in her life before we worked together. She's like, literally, Amanda, I've tried it all. You cannot, I doubt you can come up with something that I have not at least attempted for 2 weeks. She was stuck on the merry-go-round of diets and frustration and shame and guilt. And the consequences, it was affecting her health. She was taking omeprazole for acid reflux. She was struggling with low serotonin, taking Lexapro for antidepressant help. She felt disempowered and she just felt like I can't get I just can't get some real traction and real sustainable results happening. It's always this like up and down yo-yo. It's like almost this like all or nothing type of experience. And when we looked at her body, I was like, you know what? I mean, no wonder your capacity is low. So sometimes it's like we actually need to have the data. The data can be really empowering, right? Awareness. We talk about awareness as the first step. Well, she is like, I don't know where I am. I'm trying to follow these diets, but I have no idea what's actually happening in my body at a cellular level. So one of the things we did, and I do this with all my clients, is look at a micronutrient test. Remember we talked about how important vitamin A and many different B vitamins are? Well, this was where she was. No wonder she was struggling to have good, simple clarity and consistency. A lot of the things her body just didn't even have nearly enough of, right? You can see we want these all to be in the green, ideally. That means your cells have what they need to do their job. If it's in the yellow, yikes, we're trending the wrong way. If it's in the red, it's really a problem. There's no way you can even expect, it's like expecting the car to go to California when there's zero in the tank. It's not going to happen, right? So we can be much more strategic and much more intentional with how to support her once she has this awareness and this clarity, right? So she was able to radically change. She actually ended up doing it wasn't an Ironman, but it was like this really cool like uh terrain race because she's like, I literally am a new person. This was going back to Donna Marie. I literally am a new person when I can have a simple way that I know how to support my body, what foods and what nutrients my body needs, and actually have a game plan that gives me that like consistency, that sustainability, right? And she lost over 10 pounds. She had the energy to, like I said, it was like a Spartan race. That's what it's called, the Spartan race, to do like extra cool things because she was a different person. Or Carmen, who fixed her thyroid, got rid of hives, lost 8 pounds, started a new business. Donna lost 15 pounds while moving her kids and her blended family of six and increased her business income. Again, so many different areas of your life amplify and improve when you have more energy, when your metabolism is working better, when your hormones are functioning in more alignment, right? So we're going to be talking about simple first. I'm all about simple so it can be sustainable. A very simple framework for you to start to think about, how do I approach nourishing my cells consistently? Super simple, one hand, easy meal plan. PFFV: protein, fiber, healthy fats, and veggies, right? Then I showed here on this plan, I'd like to show like, make it simple. Like you don't necessarily have to go super crazy tracking all your macros and stuff, but we can make it simple starting with like palm-sized serving of protein. What this looks like is fish, poultry, meat, seafood, eggs. You'll notice that I'm picking animal sources of protein. You certainly can reach your protein requirements through vegetarian sources or non-animal sources. However, you typically have to consume more volume of food in order to get those thresholds, right? The most efficient way to get the thresholds for protein and to maintain that hormone and strength, that balance in your body, is through eating the animal sources. So that's why I showed these as the first options. But really what you're aiming for is 3 palm-sized servings at a minimum every single day. Then we're going to fiber. Fiber, and I use this as a full separate group of macronutrients because fiber is so important for our gut health. We're going to be talking about that later this week. But what are some simple ways to get in added fiber? Thinking of legumes. I'm a bean lady. I talk about beans all the time, but black beans, garbanzo beans, kidney beans, lentil beans, these are great ways of getting in. You don't need a ton of volume of food, but they have a lot of fiber per serving. So you're going to be looking on labels of different packages and cans and boxes, anything you eat, look on the label and you're looking for 5 grams of fiber or more per serving. So if you have a piece of bread, does that bread, whole grain, ideally have 5 grams of fiber or more per serving, right? We're looking at seeds, whole grains, legumes. These are great sources of fiber. Then the healthy omega-3 fatty acids. This is things like nuts and avocados and olive oil and healthy seeds. Again, 2 to 3 thumb-sized servings at a minimum per day, because we need some of those healthy fats to help synthesize hormones. And then vegetables. Brightly colored, eat the rainbow of fruits and vegetables. Ideally, foods grown in soil will be high in minerals. We need those minerals for cellular function. So 5 cups of a full fistful size of 5 cups of brightly colored, primarily vegetables. I do say fruits and vegetables, but I lead with vegetables because a lot of women I work with consume way more fruit, which has higher levels of fructose. And I would prefer you to consume more vegetables. than fruit even. But really, we're looking for a rainbow of foods, 5 full fists every single day. So this is a very simple way to start. At the beginning, if you're not even if you're not hitting those thresholds, then I'm like, this is ground zero for you. This is starting point number one, because like I said, every single cell in your liver needs these things at a minimum in order to be able to do the job that the liver is designed, all of those list of jobs, so that your hormones can be more optimal and regulated, right? So when we think about just it's simple math, protein, fiber, healthy fats, and vitamins from vegetables, right? But some of us might be showing, this is what Kathy's sharing. Oh, thank you. There's no sound. Okay. She's basically talking about, Kathy was talking about how, you know, having a simple system for the food has made such a difference. She's like, sometimes I still like it's becoming second nature for me to know how to approach it. So thank you for letting me know. I apologize. I don't know why the sound was not coming through on your end. But really, when we think about how to have that PFFV simple system, and listen, I get it. This is not about more information. It's about giving you some streamlined ways to make this actually happen. So here's what I wanted to share with you today, because this is again what I'm using with clients now is like, how do we take technology and use it to our advantage? There is, AI is really, really helpful at organizing things and helping you to streamline. So there's like this AI powered way of approaching your meals and your nutrition. So I'm going to be sharing a couple of different prompts. Again, the key to using like Chat GPT, you can put this in a Chat GPT or your favorite AI of choice. The key here is the effectiveness of your prompts. Because if you give a very generic and general prompt, you're going to get not very useful information. But the more strategic and specific you are with how you're approaching what you're asking, the more useful the results are, the output is for you, right? So we're going to be talking about a couple of different prompts that you can use that dependent upon which is the biggest area of challenge for you. So I'm actually going to have everyone stop here and think of reflection. When you think about, we've been talking about how important it is to get these nutrients in consistently, day after day, in a repeatable, simple, like not mentally exhausting way. What do you think is the biggest challenge for you? So just put into the chat. Is it a matter of I don't know what to eat? Is it something like, oh, making the grocery shopping list and just like thinking about it every week? Is it I don't have good meal recipe ideas? Is it I don't have time to make food? So just to put into the chat, will you please share with me, like, what is your biggest challenge around food and nutrients and like getting good nutrients? And is there some other challenge? So put into the chat, share with me, like, what's coming up for each of you in terms of the biggest challenge for food and nourishing yourself. Okay, so someone said it's around time. It's the convenience of time. Okay. It's honestly like ideas, like I run out of ideas of what to make. Just kind of get bored with it. Anything else? Anything else coming in? Who else is going to share? You can send it to me or to everyone. Okay. So a couple of common themes here. So let's look at here are some options for what you can choose. Again, if you don't know what to eat, and if you're busy and it's like, oh my gosh, I just need some simple recipes. And I'm going to be sharing these as follow-ups. So you're going to get these in the replay email as well, and they're in the workbook. Um, so these are some prompts that you can put in, but again, super specific with the prompt. You can put this right into Chat GPT. I'm a busy woman over 40 who is focused on naturally balancing my thyroid, my hormone health through nutrition. I want you to generate 5 quick, simple meal ideas using Amanda's PFFV framework, which stands for, and it tells you what they are. Each meal you suggest should take under 20 minutes to prepare, use easy everyday ingredients, be balanced for energy, blood sugar, and hormone health. Please format these responses as a list and include the name of the meal, the ingredients, a 1 to 2 sentence explanation of how it supports hormone balance, and keep it practical and doable. Okay, so that's a simple prompt, but you can see how like simple that's for somebody if I don't know what to do. If it's a matter of grocery shopping, like I just want something that can be a simple, repeatable system. Again, another prompt here for how you can make this streamlined. Give me some meals. Please create 3-day grocery shopping list based on Amanda's PFFV framework, which means, and it defines what that is. Keep the grocery list budget friendly, built with versatile ingredients that I can reuse across meals and made from common, easy to find items, right? Maybe your biggest obstacle is around cooking and prep. Again, a different prompt using this framework, and it's going to pull because it knows that like I've got a lot of content out there, so it's going to pull content of how to have it be effective and streamlined. Please create a batch cooking plan using 5 versatile ingredients that I can prep once, mix and match into at least 3 different meals. So this is going to help you with cooking time and prep. And then staying consistent. So the challenge I have is that I don't have time to prepare. Okay, so a wide variety of meals and I've never tried AI support before. Thanks for the helpful. So yes. So again, this is key. And this is why using some tools, it's not about more overwhelm. It's about using some strategic tools with an effective prompt and an effective way you're doing it to help you think about how this can be easier for you, right? Sometimes it's a matter of, hey, I just need to have some quick and easy snack ideas. This other prompt is like, I want hormone friendly grab and go options to stay consistent with my nutrition, even when life gets super busy. Or even when I'm traveling, I have several clients who travel a ton. So it's like coming up with some game plan so they have things that will work with them even when they're on the go, even when life is super busy. So I'm glad that this is helpful to think about using some of these tools to make your nourishment plan easier and more consistent, because at the end of the day that's going to help you get those nutrients in so that your capacity can increase, so that your cells have the gas in the tank, right? So that they can even have a remote chance of trying to do the job that they're. And why is this important? Because I want you to feel energized and improve your unwanted hormone symptoms as quickly, as easily as possible, right? So I want you to think about what is possible if you put even 15% more intention. Maybe it's just a matter of sitting down today and using one of those AI prompts into Chat GPT to get you started for this week. If you just put 15% more intention into your meal plan, what's possible for you? And the cool thing is, remember, some people are like, I don't like the taste of these things. And I'm like, well, your taste buds adjust in just a few weeks. So even that changes over time. Now, I'm hoping that this was giving you some really good momentum and ideas and things to think about already as we start off today with week 1 or day 1, just thinking about what is at the top of the radar, what's most important for you when you think about supercharging your hormones, getting the energy, getting your mood into the next health up level, and how we can use some of these tools to make it easier for us. So please put into the chat, what's one thing that you're going to take away as your action step as a result of this conversation, just kind of thinking about this and learning about this today. I always like to hear what's one thing? And then tomorrow we're going to be diving into the next step, which is all about digestive fire. Because there's the first step is getting the nutrients in. The next step is actually being able to break the foods down and absorb them and digest them. But what's your one takeaway from today? Portia, great to see you. Nika, Joanne, great, great. Consult Chat GPT. Yeah, use some of these prompts. Yes. Guidelines for those nutrients, for those different macronutrient groups. Great. I'm glad that that was helpful. Awesome. Okay. Wonderful, ladies. Well, so great to see you today. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll be back here tomorrow. Like I said, first step is getting the nutrients in. Now we need to make sure that we can help you actually absorb and get the full benefit. That's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, and how to, again, have a new tool to cut out the noise and make it simpler and easier for you to do so. All right. So we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day.